Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and it is flashback draft season leading up to the launch of the new Hobbit set coming to Arena in a few weeks. Very excited for that, but for now, flashback draft season's still giving us some really fun stuff to do, and this week we are flashing back into Duskmourn House of Horror, a classic, very, very solid draft format. It's Magic's take on modern horror stuff. So without further ado, let's just get into the draft. Super excited to be back recording videos and to be back in Duskmourn. So our opening pack's actually really weak. I'm not a huge fan. I mean, this rare doesn't really do anything in draft, and then the uncommons are also not particularly exciting. We've got a decent common removal spell that's monocolored. We've got the Spine Seeker Centipede that's really flexible for like any green deck, but it's quite a weak opening pack. I'm just going to go for the Glassworks because I was quite a big fan of most of the red decks in the format. Really like the red-black sacrifice deck. I think that's a really fun archetype to go for, but the red-white aggro strategy is also very powerful. And if you do a green-red core to a Delirium deck, that can work okay as well. Blue-red Rooms is technically one of the lowest win rate archetypes in the whole set, but Blue-red Rooms is really, really fun if you can get it to work. It just very, very rarely works. So pick two here. The Clockwork Percussionist, one of the best commons in the set. It's really, really good in your aggro decks, like red, white, and red, green in particular. It's got two card types as well, being an artifact and a creature, which helps with the Delirium mechanic, which wants you to have 4 different card types in your graveyard. So that's a nice thing to keep in mind when you have artifact creatures and enchantment creatures. Those are helping with Delirium as well. So Clockwork Percussionist, a deceptively great card. It is not a bad follow-up at all to the Glassworks to just get another card deeper into red. So I don't mind doing that, but I was just talking about how I do have fun with the Blue-Red Rooms deck. It's a really risky archetype to try to get into, but Bottomless Pool is a very solid room as well, giving you that bounce spell and some card draw later. So that would be another fun way to go, but I'm just going to take a card that I know is just always great and be 2 cards deep into 1 color for now. Pick number 3, looks like we can just keep getting further into red. That's a perfectly simple way to draft for now. There's an Irreverent Gremlin here, 2 mana, 2/2 Menace that also lets you discard a card and draw a card every now and then. A little bit of rummaging. That's great stuff. I mean, 2 mana, 2/2 Menace is already slightly above rates for the average creature, so it doesn't need the craziest ability ever to be a solid card. Yeah, I don't mind that at all. There's also some reasonable, more expensive removal spells like Seize from Slumber and Impossible Inferno. Although the Seize from Slumber is pretty efficient because you can blow up the tapped creatures with it for cheap. So that is a pretty good option too. But red-white, you really are quite an aggressive strategy, so you're casting this for 5 a lot there and trying to be the aggressive player. So I'll just grab a Reverent Gremlin. Pick number 4. Well, Hand That Feeds is pretty filler. It's playable, but it's filler. So I don't really feel the need to get another card deeper into red. Glimmerlight's really nice because it can end up in your deck almost no matter what. It's just really flexible, being completely colorless, and perfectly fine stat line for the cost. So Glimmerlight's fine. Terramorphic Expanse does help with Delirium stuff, which is fun. But Mirror Room and Fractured Realm is a really fun finisher if you can pull off blue-red rooms. It's also really slow. Not technically a great card, but it's so fun when you get it working that I'm just going to gamble on it and speculate on it. Popular Egotist would be another great option. If we want to go to Rakdos Sacrifice, this is one of the very reasonable uncommons for those Sacrifice decks. The interesting thing about Sacrifice in this format is it is all about sacrificing creatures or enchantments. Usually it's like creatures or artifacts, but this set with the rooms mechanic where you have these cards that you cast almost like sorceries and then they sit there on the board like Glassworks where it's 3 mana deal 4 to something and then it just sits around. It's giving you that random extra enchantment to sacrifice later to something like the Egotist. So kind of interesting to think about. If you want to draft black-red sacrifice in this set, remember that you can sacrifice all of your rooms. So rooms are slightly higher picks than you may think. Anyways, I'm just going to get another one here. I'm going to get the Glassworks over not much else. The Innocuous Rat is a very solid card for the sacrifice strategies, replacing itself with a 2/2 when it dies. Ayo, Smoky Lounge, Misty Salon. That is the most important uncommon to getting the rooms decks to work. Let me unhighlight so we can see what the rest of this pack has. I mean, a 3rd copy of Glassworks, perfectly reasonable too. Maybe strictly trying to win, you just stick basically mono red this whole draft still at this point, but I think we could pull off a pretty fun rooms deck here, even if, because we're in blue-red, it ends up being like a 3-3 or a 4-3 instead of a 7-0. I'll take that if I can play something fun. So let's grab the Smoky Lounge Misty Salon. Big payoff for being in the rooms deck. Gives you that big spirit token as your finisher, while also giving you a bunch of mana for activating your rooms on the front half. Pick number 7. Ooh, how fun do we want to make this draft? Marina goes this late, so no one's trying to do the 5-color thing. The 5-color thing, not a genuine, actual winning archetype in the set, but when you like goofing around and you love rooms, Marina is a payoff. Very hard to cast, but this is where we're at. First draft back on the channel, and we're going to go completely off the deep end here. Grab a Peculiar Lighthouse, because now we're going to have to take a lot of dual lands really highly, because with Marina and obviously with like Smoky Lounge Misty Salon, our best bet here is to play blue and red as the core colors, which means we're not going to have a lot of fixing in terms of our spells. We're not going to have a ton of access to a bunch of the green mana fixing unless green is super open, which means that we're going to need specifically a whole ton of dual lands rather than cards that can like tutor for any basic land out of our deck, because I don't think we're going to get any of those. Yeah, we did not wield a Spineseeker Centipede, so it's probably best to just grab a random Strangled Cemetery here if we're trying to actually cast Marina. Taking it over, just grab the prize, not much else. Although Innocuous Rat this late is a perfectly solid sign for Rakdos Sacrifice. Maybe that is actually the safe way to draft in this pod. The safe, reasonable, consistent archetype we could go for. There is a Moldering Gym still. If we go Teamer, blue, red, green, and then we just splash in like a single plains, a single island in this deck, or sorry, a single plains, a single swamp in this deck to pull out with the Moldering Gym. I'll grab that over the Twisted Reality. Greenhouse, Rickety Gazebo. Cast a greenhouse and now you can cast Marina. You do really need to actually activate the gazebo at some point to get a card's worth of value out of this, but it works. It works in a pinch, and there's another Moldering Gym taking over Lakeside Shack. Lakeside Shack is so tempting because it's a perfectly on-color duel. If these gems are going really late, I feel like maybe we can get more of those later, and I don't know if like if we end up getting past like 4 copies of Moldering Gym, we might end up like cutting one and only playing 3 anyway. Wow. Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna is the best blue-red rooms rare. It is a removal spell for 2 mana and then a card draw engine at 5. That's, in a way, kind of a win condition. Like, if you're drawing an extra card every single turn, you have so much extra card advantage that you're so likely to win the game later. So, really love Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna. That's a really lucky pull. Valgavoth is such a fun one, too. There is a Reanimator strategy in the set where you can put that Valgavoth into your grave and then reanimate it with something. That's super sweet, but that's really not what this deck is doing, unfortunately. There's a Keys to the House that can grab whatever basic land we need, and if we draw it late game, when we don't need to fix our mana, it still has value because we can use it to lock one of our rooms. That means like the Glassworks or something. If we use the Glassworks, then we can reuse it again by using the keys, deal another 4 damage to something else. So yeah, Keys to the House is pretty sweet. It can also unlock a door of a room, which could be relevant. Like the 7 mana Fractured Realm. We could unlock the Fractured Realm on turn 4, theoretically. We cast Mirror Room on turn 3. Turn 4, we cast the keys and unlock the Fractured Realm. So that's pretty cool for this deck, I think. It's probably like the only deck that Keys to the House is like good in. Everything else, it's like, it's that filler when you don't get enough fixing and you're like, all right, well, let me tutor out a basic land, I guess. It does help Delirium. You are putting an artifact into your graveyard, technically. Pick 3 here is actually an excellent, excellent pack for us. There's a ton of really good options. There's a Scorching Dragonfire for very efficient removal in one of our most prevalent colors. So we're going to run a bunch of mountains and pretty much always be able to cast this. Whereas, like, if we take a Withering Torment or something here, that's off the splash. That's not going to be consistent removal. But it's competing with Spineseeker Centipede and Haunted Screen, both as great pieces of mana fixing for a deck that's trying to hit every single color. So that's pretty close here. I think I want to just take the Scorching Dragonfire. It's a little bold, But I think that card is really, really excellent in the early game, keeping the aggressive opponents off of you. Here's our bajillionth copy of Glassworks. We are vibing with the rooms. Pick number 5, Unnerving Grasp is a great tempo play in the early game. Slows your opponent down a lot to bounce one of their permanents, not even a creature, any permanent, and get a 2/2 blocker at the same time. So really good way to defend yourself. One thing we do need to think about that is a concern when we're taking cards that manifest dread is that the manifest dread mechanic is flipping the top 2 cards of your library, putting one into play face down and the other into your graveyard. So it's essentially milling 2 cards. And if either of those 2 cards are our single plains or our single swamp, if we only run one of each, then by manifest dreading into a plains or a swamp, we will no longer be able to get white or black mana off of cards like Moldering Gym or Keys to the House, and we could lock ourselves out of actually casting Marina if we don't have other ways to maybe get the white or the black, which we do have a tiny bit at least. We've got the greenhouse. But that is something to keep in mind. We don't really want to run a massive amount of Manifest Dread unless we have a lot of other ways to get our white and black, because then if we mill our off-color basics, we've got a big issue. Oblivious Bookworm is an excellent, excellent card. It is really, really good when you're Manifest Dreading a lot, which is kind of awkward for this deck, because I don't think we're wanting to do that. But it's still decent even if you're not. You still draw a card, discard a card every turn, and do some filtering. Well, here we go. Altenac could be a way to, like, if we mill one of our lands, get that back. I don't see why not. There's nothing else in this pack we're really going to use. We could try out the Altenac. If we're slow enough, Pyroclasm is sometimes okay. I don't think you really main deck it, but I have really, really fond memories of this card because I want to... I mean, I didn't win the whole PTQ, but I day 2 to PTQ because I had this out of the sideboard in my sealed pool, and it came in so clutch somehow. Ghostly Keybear is a really fun one. It's not super necessary to these strategies because you do ramp yourself up, but it's fun. Sure, we can go Ghostly Keybear. You don't really need to unlock your big rooms for free because you just naturally are prolonging the game by being a more controlling, rampier deck. But it's fun to do so regardless. I don't think I'm playing any of that. Just rare draft an uncommon for Vault Progress. Manifest Dread is a lot easier to cast than Growing Dread, color-wise. I don't think I'm playing either, though. I'm going to take Bear Trap. Murky Sewer or Haunted Screen. Grab the Haunted Screen here, in case we mill our plains or swamp. Then nothing. 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 How many lands have we drafted? We have 22 cards right now. Oh, well, that's what we're taking. We have drafted 3 lands, so we have 19 non-land cards. You want to have 22 to 24 non-land cards in your deck. So we only need a few more playables, so we're doing great. And we just opened up like the strongest rare in the whole set. This card is really, really stupid. The only time it doesn't win you the game is if you draw it so late in the game that you end up milling yourself off of Manifesting Dread that many times. But if it's in your like opening hand, like you're just not going to lose. Just wait till you're at like 7 mana and get, what, 3 5/5s off of one spell. Absolutely absurd. Pack 3, pick 2. Overgrown Zealot looks like a nice one too. Another way to get our white and our black mana off of just a non-land card. We're getting a lot heavier into the green now because we are playing a bunch of fixing to try to get Marina to work, but I'm fine with that. Pick number 3, really efficient removal, Betrayer's Bargain. Unable to Scream is reasonable too, but I like the Betrayer's Bargain here. Getting that exile. Yep, not much else in the pack. Unable to Scream is like perfectly solid though. Fear of Missing Out and Paranormal Analyst are both awesome. We did start picking up a chunk of Manifest Dread, so I don't mind the Analyst, but I think I'm going to go Fear of Missing Out here. Just go raw stats, more consistently good. Pick number 5, maybe a Glimmer Burst here, draw a couple cards, try to find our rooms and our value stuff. Sure. Dual land. Dual land. We've got 23 non-land cards now, so we could just take duels if there's nothing great. And I'm not seeing anything great. I have been milled out by a Scrabbling Skull Crab before, but I feel like that's more because I played this set a whole bunch than this card actually being particularly great. Technically, we could try to mill people with it, but I don't think I'm going to do that. At least not with like a single copy of it, because we don't have a ton of like super must-be-killed creatures, I think, so if our opponent has one removal spell, the Skull Crab plan is gone. It's over with. Vanish from sight's okay interaction. I mean, it is good interaction, but we've already just got a ton of red burn spells anyway, so it doesn't feel super necessary. Take the Chandelier so that technically I could save myself from milling myself out. It's kind of cute theoretically because I have cards in here that draw an extra card every turn. I have cards that manifest Dread a bunch. I have cards that mill 4. Maybe we run a one-off Chandelier, but that's only for like the mirror matches. So if we draw it against an aggressive strategy and we have a 6-mana 4/4 sitting in our hand, that's just bad. It's another sideboard kind of card, it feels like, and obviously Premier Drafts are best of 1, so I'm not so sure we get to Chandelier it up here. But that is a very fun card for best of 3 to have a copy of. Alright, I have not played a single game of Magic the Gathering in over a month, so this is a lot to figure out. But it's going to be a great time, and I am so excited. This deck, I'm not sure if I could have asked for much more of a, like, much spicier of a deck at the very least to get us started back on the channel here. So we're going to figure this out. I don't think we need to Ghost the Keybearer. We only need to cut, like, 3 cards. I'm not aggressive, so I don't need the Gremlin. These other cards, like Percussionist, I guess I don't really need. We just play a whole bunch of removal in rooms and stuff. I think that's super fair. Just cut some creatures, cut all the aggro stuff, and roll with it. I would be okay with running 18 lands, but because I have keys to the house, I kind of already am. We just turn the keys into another land. We can do that even in an opening hand that has a single land in it, because we can play this turn 1 and crack it on turn 2, so we don't need to really worry about counting that as a non-land card. There's a Zealot that ramps if we get to 2 mana. Moldering Gym at 3 and Haunted Screen at 3. We could, I think, very reasonably still cut 1 more non-land card, but it's certainly not necessary to go 18 lands here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna run with these non-land cards. We will go ahead and take a look at what colors we need. Should be a simple enough mana base. Technically, yes, a 5-color deck, but we kept it to just the 3 in the actual main deck. We're just splashing in the single plains, that single swamp. We definitely want to tutor for the plains first every time, because we have other black sources, but no other white sources. So we'll have to keep that in mind when we're activating our keys to the house or our Moldering Gym. Always grab the plains as the first basic that we grab, because we could draw into other black sources if we mill the swamp. So I'll keep that in mind. But here are the lands that I can actually change, are the islands, mountains, and forests. So let's count up our green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green sources for our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 green cards. So 6 green sources, 6 green cards, 4, 5, 6, 7 red sources for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 red cards. That's okay as well. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources for 4 blue cards. I guess the Bookworm 2. Because we have Moldering Gym and Greenhouse and Overgrown Zealot in green, all of these green ways to get our other colors, I'm going to drop another island for another forest. Make the green a little more consistent and use the green to get the blue sometimes, but then we will call it a deck there, hop into the gameplay, and see how far this banger of a deck can take us. This is the hand of a madman, but I am who I am. I'm going to keep this, and if we draw a single land, we have Glassworks to slow our opponent down. We obviously really need to draw a green or a blue, but if we hit either of those, then this hand can go very, very far. Or not a green or a blue. We need to draw a blue, period. We already have the green. I forgot this was a dual land. Yeah, we're chilling if we draw any land, but particularly the blue source will be really, really, really good. But if we draw any land, now we can greenhouse into the blue source. Glimmerlight. Oh, come on. All I need is one land, and the world is my oyster. We are against blue-white, which is actually one of the most aggressive strategies in the set. It's one of the strongest strategies in the set. A really, really good Eerie aggro deck. Eerie is just the mechanic that triggers every time an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control. So it's just like an aggro deck that runs a whole bunch of enchantment creatures that get bigger and bigger and bigger really quickly. So strong deck. Oh, man. The draws are rough to start us off. We don't even need a specific color, we just need a single land of any kind at this point. Luckily, our opponent doesn't have like an insurmountable amount of pressure on us yet. They just have a couple 2-power creatures, which is still bad, but the blue-white deck can do far worse. There are opening hands the blue-white deck could have had where we would already have 0 chance this game, and I don't think it's that far yet. Hardened Escort, sure. Chunky creature. There we go. Swamp's a pretty awkward land, but it's a land, so the game is not over. Thanks to that. Kill the Chungus. Not only is it the thickest creature, so potentially the hardest to kill later, but it is doing 3 damage instead of 2 damage. The other option was to kill the Peeper, try to slow them down off of like playing maybe a 6-mana card this turn, but that already seems a little unlikely. I think they're just going to be attacking with the Peeper anyway. Nico. Uh-oh, we're getting mythic here. Couple shard tokens. These are like extra card draw. And they made the Nico 5 toughness. To get around the Glassworks. That might be the nail in the coffin here. We can kill the Peeper now, or we can draw a couple cards. 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. We're at 3 life if I don't kill Peeper, but we're at 5 life if I do, which is still really bad. I think that might be it. I'm going to kill the Peeper here. I think it's our best bet. Like, yeah, if I gazebo here, I'm pretty much guaranteed to draw at least 1 land, maybe 2. And then I know next turn I could go like land Valgavas Onslaught, but that's still just 2 blockers then against 3 creatures at 3 life. So I don't really think that that stabilizes us either. I mean, maybe Gazebo into the lands to go like Unnerving Grass plus Bookworm next turn. That would be like theoretically 3 blockers worth of value. Although I guess if I did Gazebo, since they just played Friendly Ghost for an extra 2 damage, we would have been dead. We would have went to 0. We are dead regardless. All right. Kept a bit of a risky hand, and unfortunately it did not pan out for us on that one. That's going to be 0-1 heading into game 2. All right, here we are for game 2 with a much safer hand that I don't have to feel bad at all about keeping. This is an unarguable keep. Leyline of Mutation. I thought I was bold. Our opponent's going to be trying to cast things for Wooburg. White, blue, black, red, green. How do we run into the mirror match game 2? Yeah, I don't... I'm not a big fan of Leyline of Mutation. Because almost anything you're casting in this set is going to be just easier to cast for its actual mana cost than casting it for white, blue, black, red, green. But theoretically, We had the opportunity to draft Valgavoth and Leyline of Mutation and then try to high roll and get really lucky if we get both of those in our opening hand. Cast a Valgavoth for white, blue, black, red, green. Oh. Unnerving Grasp on the Leyline of Mutation is hilariously rude because then they have to recast it for 4, but they also don't even have... They're nowhere near all 5 colors anyway. So it's already not doing anything, so I'm just going to be playing a Glassworks on this Watchdog. Getting that killed forever and being mana efficient. Playing a 3 mana card with all 3 of my mana so that later I might be able to play a 3 mana plus 2 mana card in the same turn. Save the cheaper removal for later. We can Unnerving Grasp our own room in these kinds of strategies as well, which is a cool thing to keep in mind. Rooms are a really good card to put back in your hand because then you get another removal spell out of them. Let's keep going mana efficient here. I'm just going to Vanish Egotist right now. I don't mind if they immediately redraw it. So I'm just going to main phase this before they have any mana up to affect that at all. Okay, and now is where I can Unnerving Grasp our Glassworks and Dragonfire Egotist in the same turn. I think that seems pretty chill to me. Ooh. If I don't manifest Marina, Marina's in our graveyard anyway. I do hate that we didn't get the Enter the Battlefield effect, because that's kind of the strongest part. But, well, I mean, if she sticks around, I can keep relocking Glassworks and just endlessly burning away all their creatures, or keep relocking the Weight Room and making 5/5s. Yeah, we're fine. And I just Moldering Gym for the planes. Uh-oh. Hopefully they don't kill the Moldering Gym here. They didn't kill the Moldering Gym. Ooh! Well, no Moldering Gym now, because I'm just going to draw an extra card every turn. Let's get going. Ooh, there we go. There's another way to get the white mana. The greenhouse. Roaring Furnace does damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to any target creature, so we'll be able to Roaring Furnace away the 0/4. So I could Roaring Furnace and Moldering Gym, or Roaring Furnace and Greenhouse. Either way. With our 5 mana. I think I'd rather go ahead and do the Moldering Gym so that I have a 6th land out for the future. Cool, cool, cool. Give me that 1 plains. Oblivious Bookworm is the draw. That's a cool one, but I'm also slightly nervous about the whole potential mill situation, because we're drawing an extra turn every turn off of the Steaming Sauna. One of the strongest rooms for us to keep reactivating with Marina here is also the one that manifests Dreads every turn, which is milling us another 2 cards every turn, so we need to make sure that we can end the game before we draw and discard 5,000 times. We are still at 21 cards in the deck, so it's probably not that big of a concern, but it is something I do keep in mind, these kinds of strategies. I should honestly probably just keep beating down right now rather than flipping Marina up. Get another 2 damage in and then spend all 6 mana on just making a 5/5 here. Just get damage in while they're stuck here, not doing much. All right, we've got 7 power on our board now, and they're at 14, so theoretically 2 swings, and they're out. We've got the removal spells to keep the board clear and get those attacks in. So it depends on if they have removal of their own to keep these creatures off of them. Wickerfolk Thresher, that is a creature and not a removal spell, so we are chilling. Final Vengeance is a removal spell on the 5/5. There's Valgavoth's Onslaught. That's something. Mill me a chunk, but it's going to get damage in. We're just going to clear the path, get a couple points of damage in, get another creature on the board. Next turn we have Valgavoth's Onslaught for 3. If I onslaught for 3, I mill 6. I've got 14 cards left right now, and I'm drawing an extra each turn. It's a little scary. It's a little scary, but they also have 1 card in their hands. They're just so dead if I do it. Can I hardcast this Altenac? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, I'm just going to hardcast an Altenac instead, because that doesn't mill me anything, and it's a 9/9 trample. Who doesn't like that? You know, you probably shouldn't complain while you're actively winning and you did a bunch of really fun stuff, but technically, this is our first game we got to do Marina, and we didn't get to do Marina. We just have our face down the whole time. We didn't get to do all the Marina things. Tragic. Some would even say dreadful. Altenac? That's my buddy. It's my homeboy. There's almost definitely a way to lethal them here. But I can't figure it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 2 mana to activate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cards in hand. No, I can't blow up Altenac. I would need to flip Marina and lock the Furnace and cast Furnace and bargain. I don't have enough mana to do all of that. Well, they kind of have to just trade Altenac for Altenac, right? So they're not in a good spot. We just attack with everybody. They take the 5. 4 from the 2 power creatures take another damage from Shattered Yard. Just chill with it. They've got 1 card in hand, like, sure. I can't lethal this turn, but that's okay. And then I'll just keep the mana up here, that's fine. There's the Malevolent Chandelier to make sure I don't mill out. Actually, should have discarded Valgavoth's Onslaught at that point. When you just have a plethora of riches. Just overflowing splendor. Rickety Gazebo. They are praying for some really cheap permanents. And they don't get them. If you get a Cultist, an Attic, or a Branch Snapper, all of those are not enough. Just get the Cultist and have a single blocker. They're at 3 life. They take 2 from one of these and 1 from the Shattered Yard, and that will be game. Oh, they had a Long Neck, which would gain them life. Well, Betrayer's Bargain. Exiles. So they gain no life. And then we just slap. And that is game. That's going to be 1-1 heading into game 3. Here we are now on the draw for game 3. This is a nice controlling hand to start things off. We get to blow up their first creature. And then relock the Glassworks on turn 4 to blow up their next creature turn 5? It's a little slow for sure, right? We blow up a creature on turn 3 and then we blow up another one on turn 5. So there is a gap there. That's a little concerning. But if we draw any other spells to fill that gap, that'll make this hand really good. We are against blue-white, which is scary. And they played a creature that comes with another creature when it enters, which is quite bad for us because we can't blow that all up with a single removal spell. We're still going to be taking damage from the 1/1 here. Mirror Room's also really bad when we don't have a creature on board. So that's an awkward draw. Okay, we can trade into the Living Phone when they send that in. So that's... oh, never mind. Not if they put in Ethereal Armor on it. Okay, so we need to Glimmer Burst into Bookworm, Mirror Room to copy the Bookworm next turn. Yikes. Really hope they don't put a counter on the token. That is brutal. Alright, we can still chump block Living Phone here. Still do something with our 1/1. Go to 17. Man. Could use the keys to unlock the Fractured Realm later, but we need good abilities to do that. It's 3 mana to relock the Glassworks, so once we have 6 mana we could Glassworks the Living Phone if they don't have enough enchantments. Okay, yeah, we stick to the plan. It's Bookworm, Mirror Room here. That's all we've got. I mean, we could fear missing out and then Mirror Room that instead. Either way, we're drawing 2, discarding 2, so it's like the same thing. It's essentially the same difference. There's all 5 of our colors. That's pretty cool. I've already got triple blue, double red. Sure, we'll go triple red here. That's a yikes. So 6 mana. We unlock the Fractured Realm and then play a Glassworks and we can deal 8 to Fear of Abduction or Living Phone. There's Marina too. So if we can survive, we go to Marina later. Okay. Maybe chump time. Ooh, Unnerving Grasp is so good here, actually, though. Such a draw. I have 6 mana right now. 7 mana lets me go Marina plus FOMO. I'm almost definitely casting Grasp, though. I think I can ditch the land and just go Grasp FOMO for now. I don't foresee myself being able to play Marina instead of this Grasp right now. The amount of pressure we're under. I'm going to play it safe here. I'm going to stay a higher life total. Not go down to 5. Yeah, because there's a 5-power creature right there. bounce the ethereal armored creature. Then I kind of want to FOMO. Discard 2, draw 2. Say goodbye to the greenhouse. Find Vanish from sight. Okay, well I have to discard. Play land for turn. Whenever this attacks, if there are 4 more card types, untap a creature, there's another combat phase. So I don't get to untap Altenac twice, so that doesn't actually even really work. Right, I could flip Altenac, attack both, get 2 extra combat steps, but only untap Altenac once anyway. So I think I'm good to chump here. Because I can't, like, combo kill with that or anything like I want to. Oh no, don't exile my face down. Oh boy. That is not good. They have had a lot of removal, which means it's good I've chumped as much as I have, I think. Because now we just dig really far, find a Glassworks to blow up this Megalodon. Oh yeah. Oh boy. That was a hit. Good lord. Misty Salon for the double up too. Wow. We're having a party this game. Now we really got to do the Marina thing. It's a house party and everybody's invited. You can explore whatever room you want. I got plenty. Did we mill our Chandelier? No. So we can't really mill out if they don't kill Chandelier. But we're still pretty low on cards. I don't know if I'm using the Steaming Sauna. I do need instant speed removal to deal with this hover ship, or we could die in the sky. Well, no, we're going to get a bunch of... We're going to get a bunch of big spirits here. Yeah, that's probably just what we spend the whole turn on, honestly. Yeah, that seems fine by me. I could blow up both of these, but I think it's better to just say it's spirit time. Good luck getting through all this. I'm not trying to emote on them here. I think the 4/6/6 spirits is enough. Enough disrespect. They're over it. We are just popping off in absolutely absurd ways, and this is just an incredible way to get back into Magic. We are 2-1 heading into game 4. Alright, here we are on the draw for game number 4. What may be the most standard, boring game of the day, judging by this hand. I imagine we're going to kill their first couple creatures, and then we're going to cast a Valgavoth's Onslaught, and we'll probably win off of a Valgavoth's Onslaught. But it's hard to complain when we're going to be winning. I'm going to play the untap land just in case we need to blow up something with this Dragonfire. Because they are Boros. Sure, I'll blow that up. Just slow them down long enough to cast an Onslaught. We're vibing. Betrayer's Bargain. Wow, we are loading up on a removal here to make it to 7 mana. I've already got 6 lands total in hand, so we just need to draw 1 more land at some point in this game. It's pretty cool. I think I'd rather crack the bear trap than go for raw efficiency here with this Betrayer's Bargain. Because the difference between 3 damage and 5 damage is high enough that I think I should save that to be able to kill something bigger. Oh! Okay, well, we got out-bombed. That is a mythic, not a rare. And it's a really, really, really good one. Do I just make 2 4/4s here immediately in response? Because now I'm facing down 2 4-powered flyers already. I'm under a lot of pressure. Whenever this unlocks, I'm going to die instantaneously. I think I'm under enough pressure I have to start getting some action of my own. So we gotta just make a couple 2/2s here. We can't wait till 7 at this point. Doesn't matter. It's all dead. That doesn't matter either. They're all gone. Oh. This is karma for Valgovath's Onslaught. These are brutal rares. The Dissection Tools and Overlord of the Mistmoors, turn 4 into turn 5. Yeah, I mean, I think they got us. We'll see. We've got the flying blocker here now. But Dissection Tools is insane. 5 mana 4/4 Death Touch Lifelink. They can re-equip the equipment to give other things +2/+2 Death Touch Lifelink by sacking a creature, which is tremendously powerful with a card like Overlord of the Mistmoors that's making 2 more creatures every turn. Now they have Double Strike. Obviously, Double Strike Death Touch is unstoppable. Because in the first strike damage step, they can kill 4 of our creatures because they only have to do 1 damage to each. So I would have to block this with 5 4/4s to kill it, which is not even slightly possible. So we take 8 to gain 8. Oh. Looking about as unwinnable gets here. There's some lands for us. At least we can play our dual land untapped. That's pretty cool. They don't have to attack alone to give Double Strike. So if I send all these in, I could give like Double Strike to a flyer and still send everything. Well, I don't even know if that makes sense still. But 8, I don't think it matters too much what we do. I'm sure there's better plays here. But they're plays that are the difference between a 0.1% chance at victory and a 0.01%. Very, very, very low either way. I'm not gonna worry about it too much. I'm going to the think tank here. I think we can basically wrap this one up. Okay. I'm gonna move on after that one. A Horde Caller 2. Very good card. Some more damage. We're just super dead to the Overlord stuff. Alright. Fair enough. We've been casting a lot of fun rares and stuff. A little bit of bomby stuff. And we got absolutely blown out of the water there. Overlord of the Mistmoors into Dissection Tools. Going to be almost impossible for literally any deck to beat. So that's going to clean us up there. And we are 2-2 heading to Game 5. Alright, here we are for Game 5. We've got another Valgovath's Onslaught opening hand, but we also have our other bomb, the Roaring Furnace Steaming Sauna, that's really, really good. Marina's a good card in this deck as well, but not like, you know, the auto bomb kind of stuff like these two that are just good in basically any deck. Alright, let's blow that thing up, or it's going to blow up our rooms later anyway. We're chilling, we're ramping up into the Onslaught this game too. I'm going to get punched in the face for this, but let's get unlocked here. Start drawing our extra cards off of Steaming Sauna. So now they're Grasping Longneck with Ethereal Armor is going to be hitting us for 6 damage, and we're down to 14. Got 6 mana now this turn. I could play 3 creatures and pass. I don't have enough green mana to play 3 creatures here. I could play 2 of them. Or we could Onslaught for a couple 4/4s. Just be chumping anyway. Let's get... Let's get the creatures out that let us discard and draw, I think. Hey, there we go. Hold on. Let's try that out. See if they have a response to Glassworks to save the Longneck or not. If they don't, then we are in a really stable spot. They do have a Frantic Strength. Oh my god, and it gives Trample? Yikes. That's an insane response. Boy, I mean, we would have been in much of a better spot if we just played another creature there. Because then we go for the chump and get trampled over anyway. Oh, man. This would be a really cheesy way to end this run. But they might have us here. Off of Ethereal Armor, Frantic Strength. I mean, I can get 3 5/5s. 3 5/5s is enough to not immediately die. Oh wow, that's my only green source. I actually had to pay the life there. One of them's Marina, if Marina sticks around. Could attack with FOMO and untap it, but then it just dies because Kona eats it. I mean, the first strike here is devastating. So I have to like triple block. If they have any combat trick, it's over. I don't think I have much other choice. If I triple block the Longneck and then they have a combat trick, they just eat like all of our creatures. But if I don't triple block the Longneck and they have a combat trick, then they just trample over for lethal. Because I still have to double block to not die to trample. With 2 5/5s. I could go 5/5 and a 2/3 and just lose both of those and get trampled for 1. This is abysmal. Another combat trick? Wow, yeah, and it's an enchantment, so it makes the first strike big enough to just eat all our creatures. We just literally didn't have another choice, really, in how to block there. This is insane. It's a shame we manifested the Unnerving Grasp, because that was our biggest out by a lot. Wow. All right. Devastating way to end the run. I feel like this deck was actually really nice, but that's a cheesy little kill there. Okay. That'll do it. 2 and 3 it is for the return. Yeah, bummer of a record to end it off, but I'm really happy with the deck we decided to draft and play around with. I think this deck was a banger. Unfortunate way that things wrapped up for us. Yeah, I mean, we got mega bombed out for our second loss. Just did not draw lands in our first loss. And got wombo comboed that final time. I think these are the kind of standard ways you can lose with just about any deck. I don't feel like the second or the third loss were really the fault of this deck at all. We just got really, really mega bombed, and then we got wombo comboed there. And the biggest way to stop those kind of wombo combo kills and stuff is to have a lot of interaction, and it's like we do. We've got Bargain, Dragonfire, Furnace, Triple Glassworks, Unnerving Grasp, like Vanish from Sight. Like, we're about as prepared as a deck can be for those like cheesy kill kind of decks like the last round opponent. We just did not draw the right stuff at the right time, and that will do it. That's just part of Magic. It is a shame, though, because I really wanted to play with this deck some more, but we did play with it enough that we got to do some absolutely absurd things in some of these games. We got to show off the Marina nonsense. Still a really cool deck, still super happy that I drafted it. Just would have liked to play with it a bit more, but that's Magic, baby. Sometimes it's just going to run up like that, and that is 2 and 3 for our first draft, returning to Duskmourn, House of Horror. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. And other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.